Lena never forgot the way the door to the spa swung open that night. Slow, deliberate, as though the darkness itself had stepped inside, wearing a tailored suit. She had been wiping down her massage table, humming quietly to herself, when everything in her body went still. She didn't know why at first. It wasn't cold. There was no draft. But something in the air thickened, charged like right before a storm. 2 men in black entered first. Not the fashionable kind of black that celebrities wore. This was the kind designed to disappear into alleyways. Their shoulders were wide, their steps coordinated, their gazes like gun barrels pointed at anyone who dared breathe too loudly. And then came the man between them. He didn't walk so much as command the space around him to move. Lena had seen wealthy clients before, ambassadors, tech founders, celebrity trainers. But she had never seen someone who radiated danger without saying a single word. He lifted his gaze toward the reception desk, and Lena saw the receptionist flinch just slightly before forcing a smile. Welcome. Can I help you?" "We have an appointment," the taller bodyguard said, his voice deep enough to vibrate the counter. The receptionist checked the computer, fingers trembling. "Ah, yes. The, private booking for 8 p.m. "That's the one," the man in the center said, his voice low and smooth, almost gentle but carrying an unmistakable weight. He turned his head slightly, and his eyes fell on Lena. It was like being seen by something not quite human. Her stomach dropped. The receptionist swallowed. "Lena, this client specifically requested you." "Requested me?" she whispered, though she didn't remember the sound exiting her mouth. The man's eyes narrowed, assessing her, and he reached into his coat. The bodyguards tensed, not at him, but at the room, as if expecting someone else to react poorly. But he merely pulled out an envelope and placed it on the desk. "Payment in advance." The receptionist peeked inside and stiffened. Whatever she saw made her instantly cooperative. "Please, right this way." Lena forced her feet to move. Her palms were slick with sweat, and she hated that he could see it. He followed her into her massage room, the 2 men stopping outside like sentinels. The moment the door shut, Lena felt the oxygen thin. He stood in the center of the room, silently scanning everything. The oils, the towels, the lighting. Her. "Is everything to your liking?" she asked, praying her voice wouldn't crack. He tilted his head. "That depends." "On what?" "On whether you're as good as they say." Her heart thudded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. "I'll do my best." He removed his jacket, revealing a shoulder holster with a gun, another under his arm, scars carved across his skin like signatures of past violence, tattoos inked in patterns she didn't recognize, cycles, wolves, symbols that whispered of old loyalties. The kind you didn't ask about if you wanted to stay alive. He lay face down on the table with a kind of precise grace, like he was trained to hide his vulnerability, even when relaxed. "Begin," he said. She tried to breathe normally, stepping closer. Her fingers brushed his shoulders, and instantly she felt the tension. Thick ropes of muscle, hardened by trauma. His skin was warm, almost feverish, and she wondered how someone with a body like that could even move without pain. She worked slowly, cautiously. He didn't speak, didn't grunt, didn't breathe loudly. It was like massaging a statue carved from stone and shadows. Until she pressed into a tight cluster beneath his shoulder blade, he inhaled sharply. Not a gasp, not a moan. Something caught between pain and relief. His hand twitched. Lena froze. Then, without lifting his head, he said it. Soft, precise, and terrifying in its calmness. "Do that again," Slowly. Her entire body stiffened. The tone wasn't seductive. It wasn't commanding. It was dangerous in a different way. Intimate, vulnerable, like he was revealing a fracture line in armor no one else had touched. She swallowed hard. You okay? Do it. He repeated. You found something no one else has. So she pressed again, slower this time. He let out a long, controlled exhale, and outside the door the bodyguards shifted. One knocked sharply. Boss! I'm fine, the man said, though his voice was muffled in the cradle of the face rest. The bodyguards didn't sound convinced. Sounded like, leave. Silence followed. Heavy, obedient silence. Lena's pulse hammered. I'm sorry if I... You don't understand, he said softly. No one touches that nerve. Ever. She didn't know how to respond to that, so she continued, carefully, steadily, feeling the muscle soften beneath her fingertips. He was still, but no longer stone. Something in him melted, just slightly. After several minutes, he lifted his head. Stop! She stepped back immediately. He turned onto his side and studied her with a look she couldn't decipher. You're not afraid of me. She blinked. Trust me. I'm very much afraid. A faint smile tugged at his lips. But you continue anyway. Most people shake so hard they can hardly breathe. I'm a professional, she whispered. He sat up and reached for his jacket. Good. I'll need you again. She stiffened. You'll... what? He stood, towering over her but holding her gaze with unsettling steadiness. Tomorrow. Same time. Private session. That's not how we usually book appointments. I'm not asking, he said gently, but I am paying. He slipped another envelope onto her counter. Then he opened the door, and the bodyguards immediately fell into formation, ushering him out. Just before stepping outside, he looked over his shoulder. My name is Volkov. Lena nodded, too numb to speak. Remember it, he said softly. You'll hear others say it. Don't repeat it. Don't ask questions. Just show up. And then he was gone. She stood frozen in the doorway, breathing hard, until the receptionist rushed over. Lena, are you okay? That was... Who is he? Lena whispered. The receptionist's voice dropped to a tremor. I think he's someone you should never refuse. Lena opened the envelope, stared. $2,000 for one session. Her breath caught, her fear tangled with relief, confusion, temptation. Rent, bills, debt, all solved with one man, a man who carried guns, scars, and secrets, and who whispered, "Do that again," slowly. Her hands shook as she stuffed the envelope back in. She knew she should never see him again. And yet, somehow, she also knew she would. Lena barely slept. Every time she shut her eyes, she saw his back, scarred, marked, coiled with tension, and heard his voice again, low in the dim light of the room. Do that again, slowly. Her alarm buzzed at 6 a.m. She stared at the cracked ceiling for a long time before finally dragging herself out of bed. She showered, dressed, and stood in front of her mirror, pressing her fingers into the muscle beneath her own shoulder blade, trying to retrace in her mind what she had done to him that no one else had. Her phone buzzed, a text from the spa manager. VIP client from last night has booked you again. 8 p.m., cash only. You're coming in, right? Lena stared at the screen. Her thumb hovered over the keyboard. She could say no. She could block the number, find a new job, move to a new city, hide. Her rent notice lay unopened on the table. So did a medical bill with red letters on it. Her younger brother had messaged her last night, asking if she had anything extra this month. She didn't, not unless she kept seeing Volkov. She sank into a chair, elbows on her knees, and let out a long breath. Yes, she typed. I'll be there. The reply came almost instantly. Good. Don't be late. The day moved strangely slow. Every regular client felt like a ghost between her and the inevitable. By early evening she was jumpy, glancing at the clock, checking the door every time it chimed. At 7:50, the receptionist slipped into her treatment room. "He's not on the schedule by name," she whispered. "Just private. But he already sent. Lena, it's 4,000 this time." Lena almost dropped the bottle of oil in her hand. 4? He paid for the whole night if he wants it. Said you'll know what to do. Her stomach twisted. "Did you ask who he is?" The receptionist shook her head so fast her ponytail whipped. "Nope, I enjoy breathing." Then, softer. "Someone came in earlier asking about him. Some guy with a tattoo on his neck. Different crew. I told him nothing. Just be careful, okay?" "What did the tattoo look like?" "A black raven on his throat. He gave me this feeling like he'd burn the place down for fun." Lena swallowed. "Did you tell anyone?" "Who? The police?" The receptionist laughed once, bitter. "What am I supposed to say? Hi, I think a man with bodyguards and envelopes of cash might be shady. They'd ask why I took the money." Before Lena could answer, the front door opened. She knew it was him before anyone said a word. The atmosphere shifted the same way it had the night before. Voices hushed, footsteps slowed. The world seemed to recoil. 2 bodyguards, then Volkov. He came straight to her room as if he owned the building, and maybe he did. When he stepped inside, Lena realized she'd been holding her breath. "Good evening," he said. His voice was the same, calm, smooth, threaded with steel. She nodded. "Good evening." He studied her carefully, reading every flicker in her face. "You came back?" "You booked me," she answered, trying to sound neutral. "And you paid." A small, almost amused breath left him. Not quite a laugh. "Money makes the world move," he said. "But fear stops it. I wasn't sure which you'd choose." He took off his jacket. Tonight there were more visible scars. One along his ribs, pale and jagged. Another across his forearm like the memory of a blade. "You seem tired," Lena said carefully. "Working late," he replied, as if he had a normal office job. "People require persuasion." She didn't want to know what that meant. He lay down on the table again. She adjusted the lighting, the music, everything she could control. But there was no controlling the tremor running through her chest. Her hands hovered over him. "Same area as last time?" "Start there," he murmured. "Then, we'll see." As soon as she pressed into that spot beneath his shoulder blade, his body reacted. His fingers dug into the edge of the table, but he stayed surprisingly relaxed. "You found the root," he said quietly. "It's old, very old." "How old?" she asked before she could stop herself. "Older than your career," he answered. "Let's leave it at that." She worked silently for a while, moving between his shoulder and spine, listening to his breathing deepen, slow. The tension eased out of his muscles like something unwinding after years wound tight. After about 20 minutes, he spoke again. "Why did you search my name last night?" Lena's hands paused, but only slightly. "I didn't." "You did," he said softly. "You're not the first therapist I've tried. The others were too scared to touch me again once they saw certain articles." She swallowed. "If you already knew, why ask?" "I want to hear you lie to me," Volkov said, "or tell me the truth." Her heart hammered. She could say no. She could deny everything. But something in his tone told her he would know. He seemed like the kind of man who always knew. I looked. You up? She admitted. I saw rumors, and pictures, and news stories that never proved anything. Ah, he murmured. You saw the ghosts. Is it true? She whispered. Does it matter? You're paying me too much for it not to matter, she said, surprising herself with the sharpness in her voice. He went quiet. Then slowly, he lifted his head and turned it enough to look at her. Tell me what you think, Lena. I think, she said carefully, that people don't walk around with 2 bodyguards and a gun for fun. I think your back looks like a history book nobody wants to read. I think you talk like someone who's used to being obeyed without question. And I think if even half of what I saw is true, most people would run. And you? He asked. I don't know yet. Their eyes locked. For a moment the room seemed to shrink around them. Then a phone buzzed. One of the bodyguards knocked sharply. Boss, you need to hear this. Volkov exhaled, annoyance flickering over his face. Pause, he said to Lena. Don't move. He slid off the table, shirtless, scars in full view. He didn't seem to care. He opened the door and stepped halfway into the hallway. What? He asked flatly. Lena couldn't hear every word, but she caught fragments. Raven Crew. Asked about your girl? Spa girl, the one you keep seeing. Wanted her schedule. Her blood turned to ice. The bodyguard lowered his voice. You want us to handle it? No, Volkov said. Not yet. They're testing boundaries. They might grab her. There was a pause so long Lena forgot to breathe. Then his voice dropped, cold enough to burn. If they touch her, there will be no one left to pay ransom. The bodyguard grunted. Got it. Volkov closed the door again and turned back to her. She had stepped away from the table, arms wrapped around herself without realizing it. What did you hear? He asked. Enough, she whispered. What does your girl mean? One of them likes to talk too much, Volkov said. You're not my anything. You're a contractor, a valuable one. That doesn't sound any better. It is, he said. Being mine would be worse. Her chest tightened. Are people really looking for me? Yes. For what? She choked. To send you a message? To test how far they can go. His gaze darkened. To see if you are a weakness. I'm not your weakness, Lena said quickly. I'm just your massage therapist. For now. She stared at him. He stepped closer, close enough that she caught the faint scent of expensive cologne over something else. Smoke. Metal. Danger. You have 2 choices, Lena, he said quietly. You can stop seeing me and pretend none of this ever touched you. Move, change numbers, hope they lose interest. Or you can keep working for me, and I will make it clear to everyone that you are under my protection. Protection? She repeated. You mean the same kind of protection the receptionist got when a man with a raven tattoo came asking questions? His jaw flexed. They didn't hurt her, did they? They scared her. Fear is better than blood, he said. If I hadn't been paying attention, they might have done worse. So I'm bait now? She snapped, anger and panic colliding in her chest. I'm something they can use to... You're not bait, he cut in sharply. You are leverage, and leverage is never left undefended. That's not comforting. It's not meant to be. He stepped back, picking up his shirt, but not putting it on yet. Get your coat when you finish. My men will drive you home tonight. I don't want... This isn't about what you want, he said. But his tone had softened, just a little. It's about what will keep you alive long enough to decide if the money is worth the risk. Fear stabbed through her. And if I say no? If I walk out and never come back? Volkov studied her for a long moment. Then I'll still keep a car near your building for a while, he said. Just in case. And when they come, and they will, you'll pray they fear my name more than they desire your usefulness. Her mouth went dry. You're insane. Possibly, he agreed. Lie back down. We're not finished. She almost told him to go to hell, but her body was shaking, and her brain was screaming at her to survive this moment before worrying about the next. She returned to his side. He lay back down, and she resumed the massage, though every nerve in her hands buzzed with adrenaline. Minutes passed in taut silence. Then he spoke again, voice oddly thoughtful. Do you know the first time someone put a knife in my back? He asked. No, she said tightly. And I'm not sure I want to. I was 16, he said, ignoring her protest. Someone I trusted thought he saw a chance to climb faster. He failed, but the damage stayed. Trauma lives in muscle, Lena. It wraps around bone. That's why that spot hurts so much. It remembers betrayal. She hesitated, fingers light over the scar. That's not how anatomy works. He gave a faint huff of a laugh into the face cradle. You'd be surprised what memory can do to a body. His words sank into her. Trauma lives in muscle. Maybe that's why her shoulders felt like they carried invisible boulders. Why her chest clenched every time she saw an unknown number call her, wondering if it was another bill collector or her brother with more bad news. So what do you want me to do? She asked quietly. He stilled. Now or later? Both. Now finish what you started. Make my back forget, for an hour, that it ever met people who tried to break it. Later. He paused. You'll decide if you want to keep doing that, for someone like me. The subtle emphasis sent a shiver through her. She worked until the tension finally eased again. When she stepped back, he pushed himself upright, rolling his shoulders experimentally. For the first time, something like genuine relief crossed his features. You are dangerous, Lena, he said. I'm... what? You have the power to make a man like me weak, he said simply. That makes you dangerous. To me, to others. That's the worst compliment I've ever gotten, she muttered. His lips curved just slightly, the closest she had seen to a real smile. Get your things, he said. We're leaving. I still have closing duties, she protested. I have to wipe down the... One of my men will pay the staff to handle it, he said. You are done for the night. She wanted to argue. Instead, she found herself grabbing her coat and bag, like someone moving through a dream. When they stepped out into the lobby, the receptionist's eyes widened. Lena, are you... She's with me, Volkov said. The receptionist immediately looked down. Good night. Outside, the air was cool. A black SUV waited at the curb. The bodyguards flanked them all the way to the car, scanning the street with sharp, cutting gazes. Lena slid into the back seat beside Volkov, heart pounding as the doors locked with a heavy click. The city lights blurred past the tinted windows. Where do you live? He asked. She hesitated. He turned to her, gaze firm. Lena, I can find out in 3 minutes through other means. I'm asking to give you the illusion of choice. She exhaled shakily and told him. He relayed the address to the driver in another language. Russian, she guessed. The syllables rolled out like gravel and smoke. As they drove, Lena stared at her hands. Why me? She asked suddenly. What do you mean? He replied. You said you've had other therapists. Other people tried to fix your back. Why insist on seeing me again? There are hundreds of people in this city with training, some better than me. Are you fishing for flattery? he asked. I'm fishing for an explanation before I completely lose my mind. She shot back. He went quiet. Then very softly he said, You touch the pain without flinching. That's literally my job. No, he said. Your job is to touch muscle and pretend not to notice what's beneath it. Most people do that. You didn't. You froze. You listened. Then you kept going. She frowned. That's not special. That's compassion. In my world, compassion is almost extinct, he said. So yes, it is special. Her chest pulled tight. Don't romanticize this, she whispered. I'm not here to fix you. Good, he said. I don't need fixing. I need function. His building loomed into view. A tall, luxurious tower with tinted windows and private security at the entrance. The SUV slowed, then rolled past. Wait, she said. That's not my... I know, he answered. We're taking a detour. Someone was parked near your building earlier. My men need to clear it first. Fear shot through her. What do you mean, clear it? Make sure there are no welcoming parties. She stared at him. This is exactly what I didn't want. I don't want your enemies knowing I exist. Too late, he said quietly. The words dropped like a stone into her stomach. Why didn't you tell me before I agreed to come back? Would it have changed anything? He asked. Yes. He studied her. You're sure? Yes, she repeated louder. He nodded once, as if filing that away. Then consider this my apology. I underestimated how visible you'd become after one visit. Oh, great, she muttered. Now I'm a security risk. Now you're an asset, he corrected. The difference is that I protect assets. She wanted to scream. Instead, she pressed her forehead against the cool glass and tried to steady her breathing. After a slow loop around her neighborhood, the SUV finally pulled up in front of her building. An old, tired structure with peeling paint and a flickering hallway light. One of the bodyguards spoke into a radio, waited, then gave a nod. Clear. Raven crew must have moved on. Good, Volkov said. He turned to Lena. Go straight upstairs. Lock your door. Don't open it for anyone but my men. If you see a Raven tattoo, call the number in your envelope and do not hang up until someone answers. She stared at him. You put a number in the envelope? Yes. I thought it was just money. You should always check, he said. Money is never just money. She swallowed hard. Are you going to keep coming to the spa? For now, he said. Until it becomes unwise. Then I'll move you to a private location. She recoiled. Move me? If you continue to work for me, he clarified. I don't kidnap employees, Lena. It's bad for morale. Employees, she repeated faintly. Is that what I am now? You will be if you accept my next offer, he said. But that can wait. She opened the door slowly. The night air felt suddenly colder. Lena, he said, and something in the way he said her name made her look back. He watched her with that same unreadable gaze. If you choose to stop, you owe me nothing. Keep the money. Forget my name. But if you choose to continue... He paused. You'll be stepping fully into my world. There is no half measure with me. Her throat felt tight. And what does your world contain, Volkov? His answer was quiet, almost gentle. Loyalty, violence, secrets, and very few second chances. She held his gaze for a long, trembling moment. Then she turned and walked toward the building, foiling his eyes on her back all the way to the door. Upstairs in her small, cluttered apartment, she locked every bolt and chain and slid down the inside of the door, shaking. She pulled the envelope from her bag and dumped it on the table. Money spilled out, thick stacks, more than she had ever held in her life, and tucked between the bills A small black card with a single phone number. No name, no logo, nothing else. She picked it up with trembling fingers. "What are you doing, Lena?" she whispered to herself. She stared at the money until her vision blurred. Rent, bills, her brother's medication, groceries, all of it, solved. Her hands clenched into fists. Trauma lives in muscle. Her own shoulders throbbed in empathy. She sat down, reached for her phone, and opened her notes app. She typed, "Pros versus cons," then stopped. It looked ridiculous. How did someone logically weigh pay off debt against might be killed by rival gang? She laughed once, hysterically, then slapped a hand over her mouth. Her phone buzzed. A message from her brother. "Hey sis, any chance you can send even a little this month? Pharmacy is being strict. Love you." Her decision didn't feel like a decision anymore. It felt like gravity. The next afternoon, she walked into the spa with dark circles under her eyes and a weight in her chest. The manager called her into the back office. "Lena, close the door." She did, heart racing. "Am I in trouble?" "Not exactly," he said. He looked nervous. She'd never seen him like that. "Your client from the last 2 nights sent something for you." He slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a contract, short, to the point. A flat monthly rate that was more than 3 times her current salary. Conditions: exclusive sessions with him 3 times a week. Confidentiality. Availability for travel if needed. At the bottom, his name. Viktor Volkov. She saw one more line. "Security detail provided when deemed necessary." Her manager cleared his throat. "You don't have to take this. I can tell them you declined, but if you do, we'll have to adjust your hours. They prepaid for the month sessions here. They said either you come to them after, or they stop paying completely." "What happens to the spa if they stop?" Lena asked. He looked away. "We're already barely hanging on. Their payments. They'd put us in the clear for a while. Maybe a long while." So now it wasn't just her life on the line. It was everyone's job. "Lena," her manager said softly, "if you're scared, don't do it. No amount of money is worth feeling unsafe." Her laugh came out bitter. "I'm not sure I get to feel safe anymore either way." She took a pen. Her hand hovered above the dotted line. Her heart thundered. Then slowly, she signed. The ink looked too dark. Final. That evening she didn't go home after her last regular client. Instead, a car waited outside the spa. A different SUV, but just as dark. A different driver. The same sense of danger. The doctor opened for her. "Ms. Lena," the bodyguard said. "Mr. Volkov is expecting you." Her life, she realized, had just tipped over an invisible edge. There was no climbing back up. As the car pulled away from the curb, she looked one last time at the fading sign of the spa. If anyone watching this feels even a fraction of the tension gripping Lena's chest right now, don't forget to like this video so more people can find the story, and drop a comment with what you would have done in her place. The city swallowed her up as the SUV drove into the night, toward a world built on loyalty, violence, and secrets. And toward a man who had quietly decided that a massage therapist with trembling hands and stubborn compassion would become his most dangerous liability. The SUV wound through the city until the buildings outside grew taller, glossier, sharper. The kind of district Lena usually avoided because even breathing near the storefronts felt expensive. The driver pulled into an underground garage beneath a sleek tower. Guards stood at intervals like statues, expressionless, armed, alert. When the car stopped, the rear door opened, and a familiar hand appeared, offering silent assistance. Volkov. He wasn't wearing a suit tonight. Instead, he had on a fitted dark sweater and slacks, making him look less like an untouchable figurehead and more like a dangerous man at ease in his territory. His scars looked sharper under the lighting, his eyes colder. She stepped out, clutching her bag. "You didn't tell me you'd be here." "You signed the contract," he said calmly. "I prefer to greet my new employees personally." "This doesn't feel like employment," she muttered. He ignored the comment, motioning for her to follow. They crossed the garage toward a private elevator, flanked by 2 men in tactical gear. They stepped aside wordlessly as Volkov pressed his palm to a scanner. The doors slid open. Inside, the elevator was lined with dark glass, polished, soundproofed. It felt like a chamber where secrets went to breathe. Lena exhaled shakily. "So, where are we going? Your penthouse?" "No," he said. "The penthouse is too exposed. Too many windows. Too many angles. We're going somewhere more secure." "Oh," she whispered. "That's somehow worse." He spared her a side glance. "I'm not taking you anywhere unsafe." "That's debatable." "I could have forced you here," he said evenly. "But I didn't. That should mean something." "Should it?" she challenged, surprising even herself. His eyebrow lifted slightly, the closest she'd ever seen him come to startled. "You're braver tonight." "I'm terrified," she said honestly. "That doesn't mean I'm quiet." The elevator dinged softly. The doors opened into a hallway with smooth concrete walls, recessed lighting, and thick steel doors. It looked less like a home and more like a fortified bunker disguised as luxury. Her keypad blinked beside the farthest door. Volkov typed a code, then scanned his palm again. The locks clicked, heavy and mechanical. The door swung open, revealing a spacious interior, minimalist decor, dark wood floors, a stone fireplace, soft amber lights. Weapon racks glimmered on one wall, though mostly covered by sliding panels. The air smelled faintly of cedar and something metallic. "Where exactly is this?" Lena asked. "My safe floor," he said simply. "Only I and a few select others can access it." "Safe from what?" "Everyone." Something in the way he said it made goosebumps crawl up her arms. He walked ahead, gesturing for her to enter an adjacent room. "This will be your workspace." She stepped inside hesitantly. A massage table, sleek, modern, brand new, sat in the center. Shelves lined one wall, stocked with oils, towels, and equipment identical to the spa's. It was too perfect, too familiar. Like he'd recreated her world just to place it inside his. "You built this?" she whispered. "No," he said. "But I instructed someone to build it. It needed to be ready in case the spa becomes compromised. You'll work here if necessary." Her pulse pounded. "Volkov, I can't. This is too much. This is too dangerous. I shouldn't even be here." "Yet you came," he replied. "And you signed." "I had reasons," she insisted. "I know," he said. "Money, responsibility, family, survival." She stiffened. "How do you know about my family?" He faced her fully. "I ran a background check." Her blood ran cold. "You what?" "You signed a contract with a man in my position," he said. "You should expect every detail of your life to be reviewed. You have a brother with medical expenses. Your father is gone. Your mother died when you were young. Your student loans are still active. Your lease is 2 months overdue. You've had 3 jobs in the last 5 years. You are drowning quietly, Lena. So don't pretend you didn't need this." Her jaw clenched. "You had no right to dig into my life." "I had every right," he countered. "I needed to know what would motivate you, and what would endanger you." "You think money motivates me?" she snapped. No, he said. Desperation does. She flinched. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. I'm not your enemy, Lena, but I don't exist in a world where half-truths keep people alive. Anger and fear pulsed through her in equal measure. So what do you expect from me? For now? He gestured to the table. Your work? She exhaled shakily. Fine, take off your shirt. He blinked once, surprised. You're ordering me now? I don't have a choice, she said. If I'm going to do this, I need to be professional and direct. So, shirt. His lips twitched, amused. As you wish. He pulled the sweater over his head, muscles rippling. Lena tried not to stare, but her eyes caught on the marks across his ribs, faded and jagged. That one, she said quietly, pointing. Bullet? Knife, he corrected. 2 inches under the heart. He aimed poorly. How many people have tried to kill you? She murmured. Enough to make my back interesting, he said dryly. She approached him, heart thudding. Lie down. He did. His shoulders relaxed into the table with a breath she felt more than heard. Her hands touched his skin. Immediately she felt the deep tension again, coiled beneath the surface like a living thing. But tonight, he seemed different. Not harder, not colder, more tired. Her fingers worked the muscles carefully, moving toward the familiar spot beneath his shoulder blade. When she pressed it, his breath caught again, sharp, involuntary. Do that again, he said quietly, then softer. Slowly, Lena. Something fluttered in her chest. She worked the knot, melting tension away. His breathing slowed, his body loosened. Minutes passed in near silence. Then he said, The staff at the spa told you someone asked about me, didn't they? Yes. And you heard what my men said last night? Yes. And you understand the risk now? I do. He turned his head slightly. And you still showed up? I signed, she said. I'm not going back on that. Most people would run. I'm not most people. A long pause followed. You're right, he said quietly. You're not. She wasn't sure how to respond to that, so she focused on her work. His body slowly loosened beneath her hands, unwinding like rope that had been under strain for too long. At one point, he let out a low breath, something almost like relief. It softened him, humanized him. Then the door slammed open. A bodyguard burst inside. Boss, we have a problem. They're here. Volkov was off the table in less than a second. Raven crew? He demanded. Worse. The guard said. They found the building. They're coming up the lower stairwell. Lena's blood turned to ice. Volkov grabbed his shirt, not to put it on, but to throw it aside. He reached behind a panel and pulled out a gun. He turned to her, eyes sharp as blades. Lena, stay behind me. Don't speak. Don't run. And whatever happens, do not scream. Her voice trembled. Volkov. He stepped closer, cupping her cheek with a gentle touch that contrasted violently with the gun in his other hand. You're safe with me, he said softly. I promise. Her heart hammered. He stepped past her, toward the door, toward danger, toward violence. Then he added without looking back, and when this is over, we are going to have a very serious conversation about the people who want you dead simply because you touched my back. The hallway outside echoed with rapid footsteps, heavy, purposeful, coming closer in a way that made Lena's blood freeze. Volkov positioned himself directly between her and the door, gun raised with chilling precision. His movements were fluid, practiced, silent. This wasn't the first time someone came hunting for him. It likely wouldn't be the last. The bodyguard pressed a finger to his comm earpiece. 3 men approaching, armed, masks. Ravens? Volkov asked. No markers visible, the guard replied. But they're moving like they know the layout. That means inside help, Volkov said. His jaw tightened. Someone leaked the floor plans. Lena's breathing quickened. She backed up until her shoulders hit the wall, hands trembling. Volkov glanced over at her briefly and spoke in a low, almost soothing rumble. Breathe. I am breathing, she whispered, though it felt like her lungs were collapsing. Not well, he said. Calm yourself. Calm myself. Calm myself? She hissed, panic slicing her voice. People are coming to kill you. And maybe me. How am I supposed to calm myself? His gaze softened, strangely soft for a man holding a weapon. Because panic will make you loud, and loud will get you killed. Her breath hitched. He wasn't trying to comfort her. He was telling her the truth. Another guard ran up the hall, gripping his own weapon. Boss, stairwell camera feed is down. They disabled it on the floor below. Volkov cursed under his breath. Move Lena to the interior room. No! Lena choked out, shaking her head hard. Not without you. You don't get to refuse orders right now, he snapped. Then don't give them. She shot back. He stared at her, really stared, as if seeing something new in her fear-clouded eyes. Something stubborn, something immovable. A sharp bang tore through the hallway, a door being kicked open. The guards raised their weapons. Adrenaline slammed into Lena's chest. They're here, one whispered. Volkov stepped forward. Lena grabbed his arm instinctively. Please, don't go out there. He turned and, with shocking gentleness, he took her face in one hand. Lena, look at me. She did, eyes wide and shining with panic. I won't let them touch you, he said softly. Not one hair, not one breath, not 1 second. Her lip trembled. I'm not worth dying for. I decide what's worth dying for, he murmured. Not you. He let her go and strode toward the door. The first masked man appeared at the end of the hallway. Black clothes, black gloves, gun raised. Lena's heart lurched. Volkov fired first. A single shot, clean, precise, lethal. The man collapsed instantly. 2 more moved into view, firing without hesitation. Volkov didn't flinch. His guards shielded him with their bodies, returning fire in controlled bursts. The hallway exploded with gunshots and ricochets, sparks flying off steel panels. Lena clamped her hands over her mouth to stifle a scream. She squeezed her eyes shut, but every sound made her bones vibrate. A second intruder fell. A third stumbled back, wounded. Volkov walked forward as calmly as if he were strolling into a boardroom meeting. He fired again. Another body dropped. Silence hit the hallway like a physical force. Lena opened her eyes slowly. 3 men lay on the ground. 2 guards stood breathing hard. Volkov hadn't moved from his final position, his gun still raised but steady as stone. Then he lowered it and looked over his shoulder at her. It's over. Except he didn't say it like a declaration. He said it like a warning. Bring the bodies to the lower incinerator, Volkov instructed his men. Clean the hallway. Bleach everything. 1 guard nodded. Yes, boss. Volkov walked back toward Lena. Each step he took softened slightly, like he was shedding the violence piece by piece before reaching her. She pressed herself to the wall, trembling uncontrollably. When he reached her, he stopped just inches away. She expected coldness, commands, threats. Instead, he reached out slowly, slow enough for her to pull away if she wanted, and brushed his knuckles lightly against her cheek. You're shaking. No kidding, she whispered. Look at me. She did. You're safe. She let out a shaky breath. That's the 3rd time you've said that. It will be the truth every time. Her eyes searched his face. Do people try to kill you often? Often enough, he replied. But not like this. Not here. And me, she whispered. Did they come for me too? His jaw clenched. They came because they think you are important to me. She swallowed hard. Are they right? His expression shifted. Just slightly. Just enough. Something unguarded flickered there. Something that made her chest tighten. That's irrelevant, he said. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Her anger flared through her fear. You put me in danger. I warned you. You didn't warn me that people would come shooting. You knew my world was violent. I didn't know I'd be dragged into it. His eyes hardened. Dragged? Lena, you walked in. She stepped forward, finger trembling as she jabbed it into his chest. Not that it moved him an inch. I didn't walk into a gunfight. I walked into a job. And I protected you, he snapped. Do not twist that. Oh, you protected me, she threw back, by making me a target in the first place. His jaw tightened. She pressed her hands to her temples, pacing the small space between them. I can't do this. I can't live like this. I can't be hunted just because I know how to fix your back. You think this is about your hands? He asked quietly. She froze. He stepped closer. You think people risk their lives because you loosen a muscle. What are you saying? She whispered. I'm saying, he murmured, that the moment you touched me the first time, something changed. Her pulse stumbled. Volkov. Do you know how long it's been since someone touched me without fear? He asked. Without wanting something? Without calculating? Without trembling or flinching or waiting for me to snap? She didn't speak. Years, he said. Decades, maybe. Her heartbeat filled her ears. You touched me like I was human, he said softly. And that is dangerous. She inhaled sharply. Dangerous for who? For you, he said. For me. For anyone who wants leverage over me. Her voice cracked. So I'm leverage. No, he corrected. You are weakness. She flinched. And weakness, he added quietly, must be protected. Lena pressed a hand to her chest, trying to steady her heart. Volkov, I don't want to be your weakness. You already are. How do I stop being one? His eyes softened in a way that frightened her more than the gunfire. You can't. She shook her head. Then I can't stay. He stepped closer, slowly, no threat in his movement, but an intensity that pinned her where she stood. If you leave now, they will chase you. They will think you have something important, information, leverage. But I don't. They don't know that, he whispered, and they won't care. She backed up until her spine hit the wall again. Her voice was thin. Then what am I supposed to do? Stay, he said simply. Stay where I can protect you. That sounds like a cage. It's safety. It's control. She countered. It's both, he admitted. She closed her eyes, tears burning behind them. I didn't ask for this. No, he said. But you walked into my world anyway. And now I'm trapped. He lifted her chin gently, forcing her to meet his gaze. No. Now you're guarded. The room felt too small, too warm, too dangerous. He stepped back finally, giving her space. Lena, he said quietly. You have a choice. I won't force you. She opened her eyes slowly. What choice? You can leave, he said. Walk out now. I will assign 2 men to follow you. They will protect you from a distance. They will not approach you unless you're in danger. And maybe, eventually, the threats will fade. And you? She asked. I'll disappear from your life. Her heart twisted unexpectedly, too painfully. And the other choice? She whispered. You stay, he said. You work for me, officially. permanently. Under my protection, not from afar. Beside me. She sucked in a breath. Beside you. It means safety, he said. It means power. It means influence. It means you never worry about money again. And it means no one touches you without answering to me. And what does it mean for you? She asked. His eyes didn't waver. It means I stop pretending you don't matter. Her breath caught. Silence filled the room like smoke. Then he added, voice low and unwavering. And if you stay, you never walk alone again. Her heart hammered so hard it hurt. She looked at him, this man carved from violence and shadows and unspoken emotion, and something inside her shifted, deep and irreversible. Choose, he whispered. Lena's hand trembled as she reached for the wall behind her, grounding herself. Her next breath was shaky, unsteady, but real. I don't want to run, she said softly. A slow, controlled exhale left him. Relief so subtle she would have missed it if she weren't watching him so closely. You're sure? He asked. No, she admitted. But I'm sure I don't want to live looking over my shoulder. He stepped toward her again, stopping inches away. Then you stay. She swallowed. But not because I'm your weakness. His gaze softened. No, because you're the only thing that makes me remember I'm still alive. Her lungs tightened. He reached out, brushing his fingers against hers. A touch so careful, it felt like a question. She didn't pull away. He nodded once, quietly, as if sealing an agreement with himself. Then it's done. The door opened slightly. A guard cleared his throat. Boss, the hallway's clean. We should move soon. Volkov didn't take his eyes off her. Bring the car around. Yes, boss. When they were alone again, Lena whispered, What happens now? Volkov's answer was calm, steady, certain. Now, he said, taking her hand gently but firmly, you step fully into my world, and I make sure no one ever tries to take you from it again. Her pulse fluttered wildly, but she didn't pull away. Not this time. He led her toward the door, his hand warm around hers, protective in a way that scared her and comforted her all at once. She knew life would never be normal again. But as they walked together through the dimly lit hall, she felt something unexpected threading through her fear. Strength, defiance, a spark of belonging she didn't want to examine too closely. Whatever came next, she wasn't facing it alone. And if you've stayed glued to this story all the way to the end, don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment telling us whether you would have walked away or stayed in Volkov's world. Your support helps more people discover these stories.